Okay, all right, we'll call it to order. It is now 5:03 p.m. on Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025. And we'll call this meeting of the Yarmouth Community and Economic Development Committee to order. All right, so because Jay is here, we're gonna reorder some of the agenda stuff, but I want to give Jay a chance to talk about what he has on our agenda. So for those of you who haven't met, this is Jay. He is working with the town on some economic development stuff and assisting with some projects. So feel free to introduce yourself a little further and let us dive into what you've got for us.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Jay Grandy, retired from the town of Tisbury as town administrator for 12 years and worked on a number of projects there in the realm of economic development and so forth. Prior to that, I was 16 years in the town of Framingham, now the city of Framingham, as their planning director, and worked on a lot of projects there, as you can imagine, being in Metro West. I began working in Yarmouth in March, and one of the initial tasks that I was charged with was the community planning grant. The town was successful in securing a community planning grant in the amount of $100,000.
Is that mass development?
That is EOHLC, yes, Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities. That's the new acronym, relatively new acronym. And so the Affordable Housing Trust also provided, the Yarmouth Affordable Housing Trust provided a cash match of $25,000 local contribution. That contract was signed in November of 2023. It was to dovetail the work in town regarding the update to the local comprehensive plan, which is well underway. However, the time schedule on that slipped a bit, and this grant took a secondary backseat for a while. And when I got here, my evaluation of the grant and the work that had been done on the local comprehensive plan showed a lot of synergy. And so we came up with a strategy to spend it down as much as possible. The deadline for utilizing the grant is June 30th. The last invoicing to be submitted up until the end of June 30th is through July 15th. We have BSC under an amended contract. They're working on the local comprehensive plan. They also have local offices in there as well. And they're working on a number of projects, as you are likely already aware. We have Union Studios, an architectural firm with offices in Rhode Island, and very fortunate to have them on board. We went through a procurement process. So we've invoiced slightly over $20,000 in 2 invoices to the state. And now I anticipate invoicing at the end of June, another 70+ thousand. So we'll make a good dent on that grant. I'm happy to report. And I think the reference to the village mixed use is relative to that grant. That grant was looking at benchmarking mixed use development as a redevelopment strategy for Yarmouth, and particularly on Route 28. And that has been completed by the BSC group. They're presenting, they already presented that benchmarking to the planning board. I believe it was on April 30th. They also gave an update to the Affordable Housing Trust, and that was on May 20th. And tomorrow evening, the planning board will be looking at regulatory innovation that BSC has developed from the benchmarking study. And Union Studios will be doing a presentation on a low, medium, large site. And I just wanted you guys to be aware of that. And speaking with the chair, Courtney, these types of projects, it'd be nice just to track them. It doesn't mean every meeting there's going to be volumes to say about them, but I think it's important for this committee to kind of stay on top of some of these key projects that impact on economic development. So that was the point of tonight. It's just to make a connection between me, you, projects, and
Careful what you wish for.
well, I've been in the trenches for quite a while, and I'm very excited about Yarmouth. Kind of bullish about Yarmouth, frankly, after being here. It's strategically located on the Cape. You're making a huge public investment in the town, and you're doing a lot of things right, just so you know. The other thing I would like you to be aware of is I've been in discussions with our town administrator, former CD development director, Karen Green, as well as Bill Scott, your assistant town administrator. And this is relative to developing a scope for a Route 28 market study analysis. We talk about a lot of different types of projects or uses that people envision coming on or locating on Route 28. But I think it's important to have some baseline analysis of what the demand is for those uses. And also have an understanding of gaps, you know, what is not there and could be sustained by the town, both on a seasonal as well as year-round basis. Since you are a community 25,000. So you have a big environment. You have Route 28, huge public investment, and we should have a better understanding of what types of uses could be sustained on Route 28 and elsewhere in town. And I know you have been looking at the Cedc site. Did I just murder that?
Yeah, yes, you did.
I'm gonna call it muck.
Yeah.
It's a lot safer. But seriously, I understand you'll be looking at that as well at some point in terms of what's financially feasible at that location. And have put some time into that effort as well. Some of these were listed independently, but as you can see, they overlap. I've been meeting with various groups, but I think I'll stop there because I don't lack the gift of verbiage. Yeah.
Are there any questions or anything for Jay while he's here?
Yeah, I have a couple.
Yeah, I figured you did, Joe. Go ahead.
You
I
said
think I would respect and love.
You said small, medium, and large.
Yeah.
What's the metric based upon?
The metric was like a 3-acre site. It's in your packet, and the metrics was a smaller site, acre or less than an acre, and I think there was one that was 2 acres. But I have to dig it out of the binder, but you should have received that electronically. And basically, the larger the site is, it seems there's a lot more flexibility in terms of site layout. So it's pretty logical.
That's the planning board. She sent you up, sent us the planning board.
Yes.
It's attached to the planning board agenda.
Yeah.
Sent yesterday or today.
The morning.
Yes, you haven't had a chance.
I have
assume.
not.
I think it was,
Forgive me for asking stuff that I should have already seen, but.
No, you haven't.
might have been in,
I just
the
got
last
it.
meeting.
I got it
Yeah.
today as
It
well.
was in our last meeting.
See it.
So
Now I get it.
So there's 2 documents, the mixed use regulatory review by BSC group. And the one I'm trying to remember from memory, which is the different levels of, it's really the size of the site.
Mhm.
And these are hypothetical locations on Route 28. They're not, yes, because you get into other conversations that people might not be ready to have. And then you should have received the benchmarking
Yeah,
study as
we have
well. So a lot of work has been done in a very short period of time, so.
That's my next question. You said that Yarmouth's done a lot right. From your perspective, what have they done right? Or what have we done right? Excuse me.
Well, in looking at your history, you had an Urban Land Institute walk through the town with town officials. It's dated now, but at that point in time, it seemed like a critical watershed event. They did a site review of Route 28 and elsewhere, and they really came up with some strategic vision as to the Parker River and the redevelopment of these gray-brown sites. And the number one constraint at that point in time was wastewater. And obviously the town in the last 2 years has gone to town meeting and has moved forward with phase 1 and 2 of an 8-phase program, which will stretch over 40 years. But the first phases are in the Route 28 location. And so I think from a town leadership perspective, the town has taken the big step in terms of addressing that. The other thing is the leadership on the Route 28 roadway improvements, which will address architectural barriers and also make it more intermodal and connected. One of the things we will want to do as a town in Yarmouth is try and accelerate and keep that project moving on track to construction, from bidding to construction.
Which one are we talking about?
The Mass
Wastewater
Highway
or
from,
DOT?
well, the wastewater is moving forward, and phase 1 and 2 is substantially complete.
You're talking about keeping DOT on track.
Absolutely, because their projects,
Yeah.
in terms of staffing levels they have and people they can assign in their bidding process, these are all very time consuming. And the other reason is that they're only going from West Yarmouth to the Parker River. And you have the bridge replacement going on the other side, and then you have the middle, you know, the remainder piece, for lack of a way of describing. And you want to make sure that that gets programmed in their transportation improvement plan at the district, so that that project would follow as well. Because you've made this huge investment in wastewater, you want to keep all this infrastructure going and get it done and completed. So I just know how long it takes for many of these road projects from prior experience, you know, decade from inception to construction. It's not an unrealistic time frame. So, but it's very fortunate that that's going on as well. And looking at the team that's working on it, they're very experienced from Mass DOT. So I think that's very positive. And then you have the Bass River replacement as well. So those are some major things. Having your local comprehensive plan updated is important, because you do need to begin looking at that growth incentive district, which was done many years ago at this point. Time goes by quite quickly. And that growth incentive bylaw that the commission approved, I think with the wastewater coming online, there's an opportunity to have a discussion with them about thresholds and potentially getting some level of flexibility on the threshold of development that is required by the commission. If you go online, the last one they worked on was in the town of Bourne, and they based it in wastewater, and they also had some open space component. And I provided a copy to the staff internally to look at that, as well as the consultants. But to me, that seemed like a more flexible program than what we have in place presently, which was at the time probably a big step, but it was pre-wastewater improvements.
You're suggesting that you get the commission involved to a level where they tell you what they'd be willing to approve, and then you
I would like to
follow
have
through with that.
I would like to have our team very much on the same page as to specifically what we want to ask for, and to have that conversation at the right time with the facts in hand. It's not something that is a one-sided conversation. We're gonna be bringing the facts to them, which would be, helpful to them in terms of amending an agreement or drafting a new one.
Please, this is my last question.
No,
You-
this is helping me, believe it or not.
You indicated that you were trying to develop a scope for a study.
I've drafted a scope for
Is that-
28 market study, yeah.
Courtney, this might have been before your chairmanship, but is that the study that we already funded?
I do not know. That's something we'd have to check with Karen on if it's any of the same stuff or not. I don't
For your
know.
for your knowledge, is that study,
What's
I don't know how to say it. Is
what's
it-
your first name again?
I'm Joe.
Joe, yeah.
Is that a legacy that you're being handed that, because we funded a study of Route 28 and some viability. I think at this point, probably 3 years ago.
Was that on the sports complex and
No.
conference center?
No.
No, this was a few years
That was
ago.
a highest and best use
Oh,
study for Route 28.
It may, Joe.
So it was a
and I just-
study. It looks-
I just know we
It just says
need to
FY20.
have something.
Because I would
done.
just be surprised if you're developing a scope, because Joe, you were here with me.
Yeah.
Forgive me, because Joe and I are sort of old.
Oh, that's
members of this
good,
committee.
It's
And
great.
we would have wanted, but is that the scope that we were never
Yeah, we never saw
privy
it.
to?
Yeah, we funded it, but then we never saw anything back after that
Oh.
really from it.
Okay, I would just
Well, my
want to be
point,
sure that we weren't reinventing something.
we may be unintentionally, but what I'd like to do as a process is really get some feedback on scope and to find the best mechanism on how to move it forward. But
It would have
Uh,
been in there,
it sounds like there's some backstory here in terms of work that's already been done that I need to have some knowledge of.
Yeah, we don't know to the
I-
extent of which it's been done. That's my question, I guess, is we know
Yeah, I
we
think it was
funded
in
it,
20.
but we don't know
Let me see, isn't it?
Well, I've got,
if there was a resulting contract, if it was a firm that was awarded it, if they had done something and then presented results back, or this is what you're now being tasked with.
this, yeah, I
May
can
very
get back to
Likely
you.
be what you're being tasked with, which is fine. If we're developing a scope now, we would want to, and in fact, we have funded it, this committee would want to be a part of that conversation.
And that's good. All right. Let me find out a little bit more this week.
Yeah, and we'll find out from Karen too, what this, like, what
Yeah.
that is exactly.
Yeah, because the budget has 24,717 left in economic studies, but I thought was it
It
around
must have-
50,000 or something?
75.
75 that we've done, so
Bill Scott had used some of it for something else.
they did something for a grant, I think. Did they use some of the money to do a preparation for a grant, like put information together for the grant or something, I thought? With Bill Scott would be probably the one that,
I'll check with him. He's provided me some information. So it may be exactly what you're saying.
Those were all the questions that I had.
Okay. Is there anything else for Jay while we have him here? Thank you so much for taking the time to come and talk to us about
No,
this.
was good. It's nice to have some people to talk with.
Yeah, I do plan on going to the planning board meeting tomorrow, so I'll be there.
I will too.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll be there tomorrow for that. Just to hear more information. But yeah, we can figure out when that, I think it was 2023. It was
Probably
funded,
is.
yeah, because it's not in there. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Very nice meeting you all,
Yeah.
and I look forward to
Yeah.
making some significant progress. So,
Can you make yourself known to us with contact information? That would be helpful to me.
absolutely.
Like I said, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
I tend to jump both feet in, and you're right.
Good. Go.
But it's worth it.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Safe travels
All
back
right, I'm
tonight.
just packing up. Yes.
Okay.
And I'll see you all tomorrow.
You'll be
Yes,
here
I'll
tomorrow?
see you tomorrow.
Yes, I will be here tomorrow, although, I don't know, I might end up sick in the morning, something like this.
Yes. All right. Good night.
All right, have a good night.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to, discussion and vote on municipal marketing scope of work. So that's in the packet. It's pretty draft. We don't have to vote on it tonight. But just wanted to get the discussion kind of going on what it looks like. Any thoughts or feedback? So I will say that I talked to Karen on my way here. And Lori Sullivan, our communications person, has not been able to join us at one of our meetings. But she gave this presentation to the select board a couple weeks ago about social media and what they're doing in her department, which is great. And so I would love to get Lori's feedback on this too. And so Karen and I are gonna find a time to meet with Lori one of these days, just kind of get more of her feedback on it. Because she provided us a lot of great input at the last meeting we had. Now,
Did you see this presentation?
I didn't know what happened until Don Marie just sent me that.
I had just let Lori take a look at the scope, the draft scope, and asked if she had any comments, and that was the first thing that kind of came to her,
Yeah.
is that they recently hired someone for social media. Marcel is her name, and they also do have a videographer who's also able to edit video. So to kind of keep that in mind in drafting the scope, because you've got that in-house.
We have an in-house videographer?
We do, yeah. And so I guess this is sort of good information, because I think when this legislation for the Tourism Revenue Preservation Fund was enacted, and as the committee's grown, our communications department of the town has grown very much so. And so I think that some of the things that maybe we thought we needed to outsource as much as we have in the past, we might not need to, if we're looking at marketing for the town. Now, these are pretty specific to town events. And so for like looking at marketing Yarmouth as a community, then that is somewhere where we want to be more specific in our scope, for businesses and visitors and all of that. Because this is pretty much focused on all town operated and hosted events, which is what they should totally be working on. But we wouldn't exactly need somebody in our marketing contract to cover all those things. So just something to think about. I thought this was really cool that they're doing this now. I love it.
And again, they've got real, all these deliverable
Yeah, great
data
statistics
points
and
that
yeah.
you kind of outlined in the scope.
So yeah, open to discussion on the draft scope of work. Like I said, we don't have to take a vote tonight. I'd love to kind of make sure that it's really ready before we put it out there, and hear from Lori. And if there's anybody else that you think we should pass this along to, I mean, feel free to let me know that, or we can invite them into another meeting. But yeah, this is just a 1-year marketing contract that we would be putting out.
I did have a couple of comments on that.
Yeah,
Just on the first page, the, seeking assistance with crisis communications. Should just maybe be communications. I feel that kind of the town and its past, it's getting better, but its past lack of communications is what created the crisis. So I'd
yeah,
like it to not be a crisis. I'd like it to be communication, good communication across the board.
Proactive.
So, and there's still a lot of work that needs to be done in my opinion, but I don't know if crisis is the word that looks good on this.
Yeah.
I kind of like proactive myself.
Uh,
It really gets at the point of having it out in front of whatever being done instead of, oh my gosh, which is what's been happening.
And then on the second page is, understanding the scope of services, team approach, but then it says subcontractors.
Where's
Is it-
that? What-
This is
what-
the second page at the top, I guess we'll call it the second paragraph, but it's kind of the first paragraph. Understanding the scope of services is broad. It just is, so utilization of subcontractors, is this something that we want subcontractors? Is this something more that we want? The marketing company, whoever's doing it, to actually be doing the work?
That was
I
language
don't
from the
know.
other one, so,
I just don't know. I'm throwing that out for discussion.
well, I think it's sort of saying like, okay, so God forbid this is not a great example, but God forbid there was a crisis. There are crisis communications firms out there that would really be able to help in that time. I think this is just language from a prior contract, but That I don't think we've ever, I think it's safe to have it in there. I don't think we've ever run into it though.
Isn't all of what you're talking about, isn't that Lori's sandbox?
Well, that's what I'm saying. We need to get Lori here, but it's also, yeah, so that's what I'm saying of like, I think now that like we've seen this from Lori and what they're doing. I don't know, I think if I'm thinking about this. I think our legislation has not kind of kept up with the times in what we might need. Or we need to be super specific of what we're looking for. It's the Tourism Revenue Preservation Fund, and this should really be related to the, I guess, the tourism and business stuff. Because this is all town related, but, I mean, ideally it would be Lori. I think what happened at the last time though is that she wasn't here, and just kind of getting her feet wet, so like, I don't know that, I think there's a lot of lessons learned with the wastewater thing. But yeah, I would love to understand better from Lori what it is that she's doing. And I think that's why Karen and I are gonna meet with her, is really to see what she's doing and what holes this contract can fill, right?
Right, I think there's a difference between town government communications.
Yes,
Opposed to marketing the whole town as as a destination.
Yeah.
Or a
Mhm.
business opportunity, and I
Yeah.
think we just need to, right, so where is that line, right,
Yeah.
so
mm-hmm,
what falls on the marketing contract and what falls on the town, and then how can they best
Complement each other and. work
complement each
together, yeah.
yeah,
Because like I say, Marcel just came on board 2 weeks ago, maybe,
Okay.
as the social media person. So she's, getting geared up. And that, there are a lot of, well, you can see it in there,
yeah,
it's increasing. The numbers are increasing, so that's good, that's
Yeah.
always the goal, right?
yeah,
If I could interject, Court.
Yeah.
I think. When we were talking about how this needed to change, I think the way that it needed to change was it needed to add the element of what you just alluded to, which was attracting businesses to our community.
mhm,
Because to this point, our money's been used to support tourism exclusively.
mhm,
And that has proven itself not to necessarily be sustainable for this community, so that a marketing contract that is simultaneously going to promote us as a vacation destination, but also as a place to put up your shingle and open a business.
Yeah.
I think is where we were talking about making the change and what the scope of, to this point, had been the chamber's job, which was to promote Yarmouth as a place where you go and stay on vacation with your kids. Because that's not what, Mary had made this point, and she's right, that we haven't, but that's not the chamber's responsibility. But I think we all now see that we need some of that on 28. We need some of that for the diff. We need some of that for Yarmouth. We need some of that for jobs and sustainability outside of the shoulder season that we've been tasked with.
mhm, mhm.
So that to me was the only spot where we were trying to expand the scope of this RFP, is to make it more balanced in its approach.
Yep.
Not necessarily to. Everything you just discussed is, to Joe's point, it's town communications, right? Like, so town job, like crisis communications, or, getting out the word on construction. That's not really what it is we're talking about. We're talking about, come to Yarmouth, we're open for business. Like, we've got plenty of places
Right.
that you can set up shop on 28. We're gonna do X, Y, and Z for you, streamline your site permit and all this other stuff. At the same time, come here because we have great beaches and hotels, and you can go to the water park.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, no, I agree with all
so
that.
those two elements were that was the change that I thought we were talking about making.
Is that not in here?
It is,
Okay.
but I think that
Yeah.
that's the only thing that we're talking.
Yeah,
about.
that's it. Yeah,
And this
obviously
might
some
go-
of this was left over from other language, so I took the crisis part out. I think you're right. I also will say that I heard a very good quote the other day. In Brewster, from Paul Nizwicki, that we are not in a tourism economy anymore. We're in a second homeowner economy. And that is very true. People are coming down here now with their second homes. Obviously there's still tourism and vacationing, but like people are really coming here to make it their second home and to make it their second place to go. And it's an interesting thought and process of like how we reach those people as well, right? Like if you are so in love with Yarmouth that you bought a second home here, how do you become part of the community? How do you know about what's going on? How do you How do you, maybe you do want to start a business, maybe you have a shop in, Waltham or Lexington, wherever you're from, and you want to open up a secondary one down here. How do you do that? And what does that look like? So I think it's an interesting, I heard that and I've just been thinking about it ever since I heard it. Feel like it's true. It's so true.
Yeah.
We still have tourists, we still have people who come here on vacation, stay at the hotels or the camping or whatever, but the majority of people coming here in the summer are here because they have a second home. Because you notice that when they all leave and all the homes are empty. So it's interesting, but I think you're right on point with what we want to get out of this.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm in no particular rush on this. I think that right now we're in a fine spot. I think Lori is doing a great job. I'm excited to see her department growing and evolving and getting more tasks and things to do. This is something I think we all really want to nail and get good. So I'm open to all the feedback. If there's people that anybody know who might have a good idea, I want to meet with Lori and just hear what we think would be good for marketing, like you said, and for getting businesses here, businesses staying, and some second homeowner / tourism stuff.
Right, I think this 1-year contract is to kind of start steering us in a different direction and use the branding. Not just getting a slogan out of it, but using that whole branding exercise is where do we want to go?
Yeah.
And how do we want to market things and how, what the bullet points are and what had gotten brought up before is, to determine deliverables out of, what do we want as we go forward with the marketing contract?
Yeah.
Um,
This is all really good feedback.
Because we do, I mean, we can't, we have to acknowledge who we are.
Yeah.
I mean, we have more hotel rooms than anyone else on the Cape, so
Mhm.
that's always gonna be a component of what it is we need to
Mhm.
market. But you're right, if there's a subculture of second homeowners that need some community, that
Mhm.
want to now be part of the community, which we're also charged with, community development, then
Mhm.
maybe that has to be more of a consideration, because, that brings into the conversation like collaborative workspace. Right, so if I've got a second home here and I can run my cottage business out of a colo in Yarmouth, then I'm more inclined to want to now service this community too, from my business perspective.
Yeah.
I know that happened to me.
Yeah.
Before COVID, I didn't have any clients on Cape Cod. But as
Look
it
at
was,
now.
look at me now.
Yeah.
Again, be careful who you wish
Yeah.
for. Now you can't leave.
Yeah, I think it's all good, and I think too, I think the shoulder season stuff is great. I think we too have like a sense of people here in the off season who, I hear it from a lot of people that like, I'm tired of having to drive to other towns to do things, and it's like, yeah, we have to really foster what we have going on here, and maybe it's just as simple as like, maybe some of our businesses don't have the capacity or the wherewithal to know how to promote themselves and their businesses, and maybe it's, offering classes where they can learn how to do that with our person or something. But I think there's a lot of opportunity here, and I think all the points that you all are making is exactly what we've been discussing. Do you have anything?
I like numbers.
I know you do.
There's 25,000 year-round residents in Yarmouth, and there's 25,000 households in
Mhm.
Yarmouth, but there's only 10,000, 40%
Mhm.
permanent year-round residents.
Yeah.
We've been a second home place
For a long
for a
time.
long time. What is it? I mean, there's only one of the 6 people who bought houses in the last 3 years on my street. Only one of them is renting it out. The rest of them are their families show up all the time, things like
Yep.
that. What really is what we need? I think you nailed it on the head. Good job, Joe, It's what is the difference between a second homers
Yeah.
wants of this town and tourists? Tourists like, tourist things during the
There it
season.
No, there's a exit door out there.
So anyway, I think you're right,
Stuffy.
and that is a real interesting, the way you put that, that makes a difference in what you find out, I think.
Right.
Maybe there's, I don't, this is gonna sound really corny, but maybe there's something along the lines of a welcome wagon.
Oh, I love that.
I do too, that's a good idea.
Because, like, I don't know, adopt a second homeowner, like.
Yeah.
Engage with, the locals in a way that, to your point.
Yeah.
Many of the second homeowners on my street, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know all the kids that I grew up with, that,
Mhm.
you know, you can name their homes by their last name.
Mhm.
And those are few and far between these days, but maybe there's a real opportunity to try to make some to build some community between those two groups.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we do that necessarily. I don't. You know, going door to door certainly isn't gonna happen these days, but maybe there's a way to back into, and I don't wanna add another parade. But you know what I mean, like an event or an open house or block party or something like
Yeah.
that. Maybe that model could help to grow some roots in between what are right now really two disparate groups of people.
Yeah, yeah. And I think too about like, so I know in the Outer Cape, they have the Nauset newcomers, which really has spread more from the Outer Cape to like the Lower Cape. And they, you know, they're a great organization and they, you know, help new people understand like, okay, you live in this town, this is how you get your beach sticker, this is how you get your transfer station sticker. These are things you need to know. This is when the select board meets, like those sorts of things. And I think it's all like super useful to welcoming people and making them feel welcome and like it's a sense of community. I think, yeah, I think it's a great network of people to tap into. And you know, some of these second homeowners end up coming year round, which would make them great committee members for some things. And so it's all beneficial to everybody.
Yeah, so maybe the community development piece of this that we largely, I'm just speaking for myself, I largely pay lip service to.
Mhm.
Maybe that needs to be.
Community is the first part of our.
Yeah, community.
Maybe it's a.
I'm putting it in all caps in my notes in bold,
Important.
community.
For the success of everything else that we're talking about. You know, because if I can just, you know, extrapolate that. You start to build a rapport and they start to get comfortable with the locals, and then maybe they do want to put a flag down on 28 and open up their, you know, they have a bakery or they have a print shop or they have a law practice in Braintree and now they feel comfortable opening up something, satellite here.
Yeah.
My community is the best one I've ever lived in. And it all started when we started doing drinking on the driveways on Friday at fun.
Well, there you go.
And when I would go around and give them.
What's your address now? Just kidding.
I would go around and give them a sun catcher and tell them we're having something at Hurwitz's.
Do you have
or
any
this
numbers
or
to
that.
back that up?
Yeah, and
90% participation.
Oh, well, we had the newest people come in from California and they've cut a gateway through between them and the people behind them. And they bought one of their cars that they were selling to leave in the driveway unless they're here. And they went from 1 month to 4 months this year here,
Wow.
and they're doing their business long distance to San Francisco.
Wow, see,
both of them.
yeah.
And I was just gonna say, it's kind of interesting, but it's just, if somebody goes around and meets them, is the real key. Like,
Yes.
welcome wagon, great
Yeah,
idea.
that's
I like
yeah.
that idea. But I mean, a neighbor would watch and stuff like that, and that hasn't even crept into the neighborhoods.
I was just thinking about, that is so funny that you say that. I was just thinking about neighborhood watch the other day. It's like, that's one of those crime watch signs. And I'm like, really? Who's watching for crime in this neighborhood? But people are doing it. I think we're on a really good track here. I think community is a huge piece of it.
It is. Yeah.
And I think, yeah, how do we market?
Because it would lead us into that direction that you and I have talked
Yeah.
about. It's like, we want to be able to hang out in Yarmouth.
Yeah.
Part of that is like, we need people to hang out with.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we hit the carry out food every time we do something like that.
Yeah, and I think too, the
I'm
thing
really
is
kind of
like,
sick of those 10,000 people that I already know.
yeah.
And
it's
you
just
went to
people-
school, yeah.
15,000 I might like better.
Yeah, and it's also meeting people where they're at, right? And I think that's really important. And making it a light lift. I was just having this conversation with one of my friends about like, we need to get together with other people more and do that, but like well, I'm busy, you're busy, they're busy. Like, how light of a lift can we make it? If we're already going out on a walk with the dogs, just text 10 people and say, hey, I'm going for a walk at this time. I'm already doing it. Do you want to join me? Like, it's gotta be, it's gotta be
Yeah.
very light
There's
lift,
some-
strategic.
There's some really easy ways to affect this.
Yeah.
Really.
The other
there is.
thing that.
I mean, even dividing up the town into, you know, you don't want to, divide is the wrong word, but sectioning.
Yeah.
the town
Partitioning it out,
into-
yeah.
Partitioning the town into different, and let some of those advocates take over that outreach.
There are people in every one of them who feel like
Absolutely.
doing that. The other thing we give them is we give them a small map with everybody's name and address, where
Oh,
they
that's
live,
nice.
and whether they have kids or not.
Oh, that's nice.
We've got people with kids. for
Your
the first
neighborhood sounds
time.
lovely.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds
You
lovely.
can park on our driveway if you want to go to Parker's River Beach.
Oh, there you go.
Drink
Hey.
apparently.
Oh, well, we have a glass of wine, we can come back, maybe two.
Yeah.
Yes, it actually is the most fun, and that's part of it, it's just everybody just sort of met everybody.
Yeah,
But I think the handing them the thing, and then we have the list of people that people have worked with, the tradespeople who are doing a great job.
mhm,
And we have 2 or 3 or 4 of them now. There are only 1 or 2 people to avoid. But that's really, if you have a list of people that have done work and are good.
And conversely, I bet that us year rounders are sort of enigmatic to those folks too.
Mhm.
And I think that they might appreciate that as well.
yeah,
Like someone, I mean, just at the minimum of keeping your eyes on your neighbor's house, because you know they're not there in February.
right, right.
At
Yeah.
one point, my wife had keys to every house in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was just saying, whoa.
It's an interesting part of this conversation.
Yeah, so I think this is all super good. I will say, like I said, I'm in no rush to kind of, I don't want to push this through. I think we want it to be really fine tuned and have some clear objectives and what we want and get some clear asks out of it. I am going to the select board June 24th for like our quarterly update. And I think, part of that update will include the traditional marketing, visitor services and events contract we've typically had. We've decided to start moving in another direction and bring up a lot of these topics and these points as to why we're kind of moving in a different direction, and that we're looking to, sometime within the next couple months, put out an RFP for the 1-year marketing contract. But like I said, I really want to talk to Lori. I want to finish making sure that we all have in here what we need. And not just rubber stamp it.
Mhm.
So I
So,
agree, and I have a few more things on here.
Go
too,
ahead, Joe.
But,
Go, Joe, go, Joe.
but the timeline on this too is because I feel that September 1st is rapidly gonna. approach
Yeah, it probably won't be.
With this is that I
Yeah.
think that we need to get this out sooner rather than later, so we can get it out and we can, people can look at it and.
yeah, so our
You
next meeting is scheduled for July 8th. If people want to take this next like couple of weeks to really like fine tune asks, objectives, anything else, I think we can still be on,
And this is just for the 1 year?
yeah.
Okay, I'm a little confused. I thought we extended them for a year.
We extended them through the end of
August
August.
30th,
Which is the longest we could extend them under. the
Yeah.
contract.
right?
Okay, so, but I thought we were also talking about just keeping the RFP as is for 1 year. Until we get the branding back before we decide to.
No, we said we wanted to do one,
Some changes, that's where we got rid of the visitor services and the event coordination and go more towards
Okay,
marketing.
'cause this is way more than some changes, though. This is like wholesale changes. If we were just pulling out sections about event and.
I pulled some of the stuff, but it was a little stale. It was the same contract that an RFP that had been issued for like a decade, so we can, and I took a lot of it out of there.
But isn't it just to get the chamber back for a year until we figure all this out?
No, it's to get anybody to market for a year until we figure out the branding stuff.
Right, so the real fine tuning is coming once we get the branding done on this.
Because once we get the branding done, then we'll have a more comprehensive. This was kind of like a holdover.
This was a
We
stopgap.
wanted to maybe get someone in to get their feet wet or offer it to someone
Right.
else.
Just see, yeah, what
Okay.
else might be out
I think we
there.
should vote on a final one for July 8th.
Yeah.
Have it issued that.
Soon after.
Yeah. That gives me time to meet with Lori and anybody and gather any more input,
The
so,
responses by August 8th or whatever. and
Yeah.
then Awarded by September.
Yeah, how long does it have to be?
so
posted for?
like 2 weeks, I think at a minimum, so let's see, July 8th, if we give it to her and she can post it for July 14th. With responses due. Even
One month
Friday, August
later.
1st.
14th and then
We would,
contract
yeah,
is
so
31st.
July 12th, we could easily have it back for July 12th to make an award before September. I think we still have enough
we
time.
should
I
shoot
think it'll
for
be a
that.
little tight, but I think we have time. If we get it finalized and approved to get to Svetlana to push out at the July 8th meeting, I think we'll have enough time to put it out there on the street according to procurement laws, get the responses back, and then make a decision.
Okay. All right, I'm just thinking sooner rather than later, but, all right, then
It'll
I,
still be issued for September 1.
There's no one else on this meeting today, is there?
We have one attendee.
Who is that? Hi, Tom.
Hi,
Hi,
Tom.
Tom. All right, so I had a couple more things if we can go through.
Yes, go ahead. Okay, I'm
So
ready.
under marketing services include marketing, SEO, I'm drawing a blank on
Search
my,
engine optimization.
okay, that's, I'm sitting on, what is it?
That's like Google keyword.
And then down in that D one, where it's drive traffic to Yarmouth, particular focus on the business and district events. I was trying to understand what district events,
Oh,
meant.
yeah.
Maybe that should be tourism revenue from TRPF funded events. So we definitely want, whoever's doing this marketing
Yes.
to really, so instead of district, maybe we do that.
Yep,
And then back down to my option, the optical signature event. And again, this is just my feeling, is I feel like, I think that this was kind of going around with sand sculptures where I've figured that's, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion alone, is that it's not more of an event, it's a marketing campaign. So I'd like to say two things on this, is that it would be a signature marketing campaign opposed to an event.
love it.
Okay, and then as far as funding goes, this funding would be part of this, so you're looking as an option under this
Yep,
100,000 we have for this. You know, when the chamber did it, I think it was about $40,000 was going to special events, that those special events like Mermaid and the other type of things, those were pushing into the special event category funding
yep,
box. Because sand sculptures has always been all over the place.
yes, yes.
So again, sand sculpture, and this is just my opinion, is more of a marketing campaign. So if somebody, so whoever chooses to bid on this wants to, within this confines of this, have that, what I'd say, signature marketing campaign. It would be funded within this marketing funding and not underneath the tourism.
Yep.
And maybe other people look at it differently. I just don't look at this as an event. I mean,
No,
look at
no,
it-
I think we all
the
look at
sand
it the
sculpture
same
is
way.
not event, or whatever else it may be. It could be something totally different.
It's a really
sand
good
sculptures.
distinction, Joe.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I agree.
So I'd just like to remove the special event, so it would just be funded under this. and it
Yep.
Would be that. Then over on deliverables on the next page.
Yep.
You know, meet periodically, standardize future marketing needs. I kind of like, when we say, oh, meet periodically, sometimes that never happens. I kind of like to say quarterly, like meet with the committee quarterly, meet
Meet
with
with-
staff quarterly, meet with. I don't know who meet with, I mean, I kind of like, I actually, I like it when the chamber comes in and does a presentation and gives us all the information. More, I know that they put out the bulletin and stuff because they have it now, and that bulletin is great, but it's nice when we can kind of come in and have conversation about different things or what might be working. So I'd love for them to actually, I don't know if it's quarterly or twice a year or whatever, to actually come to a meeting, whether it's Zoom or whatever, and we
Yeah.
can, and we can discuss how things are going, because I think that gives us a better understanding of what's going on. So I kind of would like to see it actually,
Quantify,
quantified as,
okay,
hey, come, maybe meet with staff twice a year and meet with the committee twice a year, however, whatever people might think, but I kind of feel that we should further define that, because when you
yeah,
kind of
I think that's
meet
good.
periodically,
I'm gonna say meet with the CEDC quarterly.
okay. Oh, and then the other thing too is after our last meeting, you had asked the chamber if they had that fancy, yes, should we put that placer AI or wording for that? Because those are good metrics that we would be able to get back. Do we want to add?
I was just
Wording.
gonna suggest that maybe there's some deliverables and needs to be a little more granular about the types of reporting that we want. I can provide some additional information on more specific types of reporting that we would want.
Yeah,
So I'd like to see that, like, it sounds very interesting, the data that
Oh, it's
that
incredible.
comes out of it. I think that would be, especially if you can look at it at different times and say, okay,
As a matter of fact, maybe Placer AI is someone that we would want to come and make a presentation before us.
Yeah.
Because it would really put a fine point on heads and beds and traffic flows and, where people are actually spending time on any given day at any given moment.
and that could also, we could actually use some of that towards our special events to see if those dates are. Is that so very geographic specific? I mean, if we looked at, we have the St. Patrick's Day parade for say, and then we could look at us, we could look at Dennis and Hyannis and go, oh yeah, Yarmouth has got this huge spike because of, that you could rationally say that was, say the parade or any of our other
Right.
events, like
It's even more specific than that. You'll be able to see a bunch of dots over the hotel they stay in
so you
that
see.
weekend.
See, I think that would be awesome too, as a good metric for our funding, even if we, not necessarily each individual person, group looked at it, but for us to look
Because
at
it
it.
tracks this. it's like Waze, you know, when you're on the road and you see a bunch of other icons.
Yeah.
That's what it does on a. I don't even know how many apps they have as part of their platform, but if you've got any app that is tracking your location that they have an affiliation with or a partnership with, it sends back the data, right? So you could say, how many people were at the Bass River Beach on this Saturday? You'll see a dot all over the beach for all those phones. And then you'll watch it as the day unfolds, ebb and flow.
So that would,
It's
yes,
very, very granular. It's a very powerful tool, which is why it costs a ton of money.
is that something that most
Which is why
marketing,
My ears perked up when the chamber said they had it, because it's really expensive.
do most marketing places have that? Is that like a normal thing for chambers and marketing companies to have or not?
It's a pretty advanced tool. It's a pretty advanced tool because as soon as you start to widen your footprint, it gets exponentially more expensive, right? It's a proprietary technology and, you know, you could, I haven't priced it in a while, but you could even set, you know, locations of general specifics. Like, let's say you wanted to, you know, monitor how many people go to the visitor center, go to the rest area on the
Exit 6.
you can identify all those geographic locations and they will just focus the traffic there, which is cheaper than if you want to say, we want to know where everyone goes in Yarmouth.
Do we want to put that, yeah, so we
Yeah.
need to want to put some.
Yeah, I think
don't know that
some,
you can require them to
Specific.
utilize.
Right,
that
but I think we
specific
can
product, but
enhance, we can improve the types
We
of
can
metrics we
definitely
wanna
ask for
see.
more granular reporting on,
Yeah.
on that side of it,
Yeah,
the impact, I think is what you're talking about.
Right,
yeah,
How much, like, cause we hear all the time about, we get all kinds of reports back about heads and beds. As an example, from all these events. But it'd be nice to be able to actually quantify that by
Mhm.
looking at
Mhm.
a weekend in March and seeing either tons of cars at hotels or no cars at hotels.
right, what happened the weekend before, or the weekend after,
Right.
and the off, especially in the shoulder season.
Correct.
All right.
cool. Anything else, Joe? G?
And then the only other, maybe it's just the way it's, so down the bottom, budget funding for this contract shall be determined at a later date based on responses received.
That's all standard contract language, I think, but we can,
I mean, we've said we were gonna fund up to $100,000, so I guess, right, I mean, so if somebody bid 75, and we wanted to give them to 75, we could, but I just, kind of, it wasn't,
yeah,
I
I
was
think
trying
that's
to-
standard contract language, but we can check with Svetlana on that.
that was, I just was kind of. That was my
When you give
question.
them a target, $100,000, how would you spend it?
Yeah.
And I mean, I used to write
Or
proposals
up
for
to.
companies and I know about that.
Okay.
All right,
So, okay, those were those, that's what I have.
okay, so we'll all go out and figure out, you know, kind of what else we want to see, if there's anything specific. I'll talk to Lori and see what she's got going on and any suggestions she has, and then we'll plan to take a formal vote on July 8th. Does that sound good to folks?
Okay, so
Okay.
we have June 24th with the select board and July 8th is our work meeting.
Yep. And so for June 24th, I'll just provide them an update as to where we're kind of going with this, and that we're working on it and hope to
So
have something for them.
we will, if we have changes we'd like to make to it, to make it more granular or more, whatever, we send them to you to.
Yep, that's
go
fine.
into it, right?
Okay, awesome. Great discussion. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next thing is the branding, which, I think I had a draft memo. I did have a draft memo. Let me just pull it up here. Which is really just kind of to get them to have an idea of like the initiative and where we're coming from on it and what it means.
Yeah, so I did have a couple.
Yeah.
Things I wanted to throw out. in that
Yeah, I
too.
already changed the one Amesbury, so we got that. What do you have, Joe?
I think two things that maybe should be called out in it is that we have funding within our economic development line item that we'd be looking to use to fund this.
I'm just gonna make.
So we're not looking for town fund, we have funding. I think we're on that page, that we have funding within our thing to fund it. So that A, they know there's a cost, and B, that
Okay.
we're covering it.
Yeah,
So we're
I'm
not
just
asking
making
for
notes.
anything.
Funding.
We're not asking for an article, town meeting.
And then. Then the other part of that with the benefits is kind of a lot of this really started firing us up again was when we came back to that marketing contract about finding deliverables and quantifying things, is that. So one of the big things with this would be steer, steer our future marketing.
Yeah.
Or marketing funding, or how we, how we use our,
How we value.
how we. All right, yeah, I mean, whatever the keywords are, but I think that those are two things that,
Yeah. And then again, I think it's also like creating a sense of, I think I touched on it, but at the top of like, the first four bullets, but it promotes a healthy economy, resonates with residents, conveys the spirit of Yarmouth, showcases community pride. I think it can really help with that too, sort of all the stuff that we just talked about.
right, and we could put, I mean, if we wanted to get more into that, where we've discussed the community too, so I think that I think the exercise itself. Not even, I mean, I think even the end all of it, but I think just going through the exercise of itself is gonna be very informational. I'm
Yeah.
hoping, but
I hope so too, yeah.
So-
Well, it goes back to that question that you had, Peter, of like, why Yarmouth? Why are people choosing, why do they love it? Why do they live here, work here, all that? So yeah, good points, Joe. Anything else?
The only other, so at the top of that second page, after a rebrand, the CDC would be happy to continue being the host of a marketing contract for the town.
Yeah, saying that we're gonna still keep doing these contracts we're doing.
Okay, I guess the way I was reading it, I had to read it 3 times and I was kind of like, continue to.
Yeah, it's just so that
To
like,
support
yeah,
the marketing, I don't.
yeah, I can.
I think
I
we should
guess-
stipulate to that, because we're not,
Right,
that's not in question, that we're gonna continue to do that.
I think being the.
No, but it's more to just say that like, we would be, yeah, but right, if we issue a marketing contract, it's to make sure that these branding efforts are upheld. It's not just that, it's like, that's gonna be a big thing in the contract, but I'm happy to wordsmith this and play
Yeah,
around.
That
with
was, there was wordsmithing, I think of it too, because I think that this also goes, but so it's how we spend future tourism resident funds. Because that, a lot of even the logo and stuff was supposed to get used by the special events and all that other
Yeah.
type of stuff, so. Right, and then as we mentioned, the town logo, the town seal logo may not be the appropriate logo to
Mhm.
use that we're trying to.
Right.
Market Yarmouth, so we come up with that new logo that we want the special events to use it, so it's gonna steer. I would think that this would be a big part of all of our fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was just gonna say too. I don't think it necessarily correlates. That the amount of money we spend on this branding effort. Is going to. Foster the type of results that we're wanting, but I think. This is not an easy rebrand.
no,
This is a difficult rebrand. And I think that in order to. Everything that we've been doing recently has been to attract some new perspectives. To these questions that we're having a hard time navigating, so. I would suggest that, to Peter's point, that we put a nice big number on this. And allow people to tell us what they can do for us, and maybe it'll attract the type of, I don't know, expertise. That's really gonna be required to get this done properly, because this is not an easy, this is a tough needle to thread, because.
Yeah.
Just the seasonality of this community is a huge problem. They're having difficulty figuring out what the Cape needs to be all over the Cape.
yeah,
And for Yarmouth to sort of take that on in and of itself is daunting.
Yeah.
It's gonna cost money, I guess is my point.
yeah, good points.
Yeah, I like it, yeah. What we need is, one way to divide up people is as engineers, economists, architects, and artists. And it's almost like we want an artist to
Or
at least,
professor of semiotics.
yeah, an artist to say something about this, not just the economists and the engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody liked New Coke.
Yeah, so again, this will go on the 24th. I'll tweak this out a little bit and I'll send it to you guys, and if you have a comment, just let me know. But the memo for that select board meeting on June 24th will include the branding and the marketing stuff. I'm pretty sure that's the only updates we'll have for them at that point, and then of course that we're gonna launch, I'll give them the timeline info on the public improvement and special event stuff that we talked about last meeting.
Right, and I would hope the selectmen would be very much involved with or participate in the branding exercise too.
Yeah, I hope so. I might put in a call or email to Bob just so he knows it's coming. I don't want them to be totally blindsided by it, but I'm hoping that it's something that, it seems like it's an easy win for the town, right? Like it's good for everybody. And if we have the money to do it,
I think it's long overdue, I
it's
think.
long overdue. Yeah, so, okay.
I would just caution us against turning it into a blank piece of paper.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Doing lots and lots of community listening sessions about.
No, it's not a lot of community sessions, but it's at least a survey. It's at least one session. Like, we need to hear from the public as to what they want. It's not.
I don't disagree.
It's not gonna be it's not gonna be like the LCP, it's not gonna require all of that, but. The thing with the example I provided with Amesbury is that they had already on their own done a community listening session. And so that's one thing that we haven't really done in this town in a long time, but outside of the LCP is to get a better understanding of this. So it's gonna take a little bit of community input, but not a ton. And the thing too is that like, it's not a lift for the select board or, I mean, the big thing that I will convey to the select board is that we're doing the best that we can with, unfortunately, our very limited resources. Donna Marie has been going above and beyond for everything, for us and every other board and committee she's in charge of. But we're doing the best we can with all that we have right now. We're volunteers.
Can we put those listening sessions into this and have this company do it?
That's what it would be. Yeah, that's in the RFP.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, no,
Make
that,
sure
and yeah, that's in the RFP.
Self-contained with.
Yeah,
the
it's all self-contained.
professionals.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's all in there. Yeah.
You're gonna do.
That's
The most fun thing about it is if you're gonna do listening is what's the question you're gonna ask them to respond to? And I'm just remembering back to when one of the companies I worked for asked its employees to say, what do you think of first when you think of geodynamics?
right. Like the
Right there.
Amesbury one had a lot of really
It
cool
was
questions of
really-
like,
yeah.
what piece of furniture would you use to
Yeah.
describe? Like, it's just cool little things like
Yeah,
that.
I
Like,
think it back to-
it's just interesting. But yes, the whole point, I think, to your point, Joe, is that like this would be self-contained.
Yeah.
It would be, we would be the lead like point community town group on it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it would all be self-contained and it won't be like piece of paper. So yeah, this is all really good discussion and good points. So thank you. Is there anything else on the branding?
That's the lounge chair.
Yeah, like a beach chair or something?
I don't think it goes flat though, because you won't be able to go on it.
Yeah.
A chase lounge.
Yeah, shades on, for sure. All right, so. We already talked, okay, so public improvement solicitation, that one I have drafted. Is there anything else on that? I changed it from Karen to Dawn Marie. We'll review applications at our July 8th meeting. Was there anything else that we wanted to put in here? Let's see.
No, I think I guess maybe the only other thing, so that we were trying to do this to line it up with capital budget, right?
Yeah,
So I would just say that just because they apply to us doesn't mean that they couldn't apply to capital budget. and
Right.
Just because they apply to capital budget doesn't mean that they can't apply to, like, so
Because
it's not.
They all ask the same question. CPA says, have you applied to capital budget or tourism? CPC says, have you applied to CPA? So
So should I just
everybody
ask-
should always be saying yes.
all right, so I'll just put another question in here then. Have you applied to the capital budget committee?
Well, I wouldn't want somebody just to apply to us and go, oh yeah, we're gonna get that one, and it's like, well, if you have other options too.
Well, that's,
The other option might be a little more appropriate for things too, so it's all I was going for, is
Yeah,
it shouldn't,
don't limit yourself.
shoot high.
Don't limit
And I
yourself
think,
to
like,
just
that's-
find us.
right, that's where CPA was always coming from, that, not the only piggy bank in town, or
Right.
however you wanna look at it, but, that it's more cooperative
Yeah.
funding. That's how CPA looks at it. We
Yeah.
all want to be able to, do what we can to support some of these projects that are of value to the community.
Right, or if you can get 75% of your funding from somewhere else and you just need a little bit more to push you over the edge,
Yeah,
hey,
Yeah.
this might be a good thing to just be that, push you over the
and
edge.
especially if it's a seed money for other outside grants. So,
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, that's a good point. So I added that question in there. Is there anything else? So again, like once we finalize and vote on this today, we can push it out this week probably to department heads or next week.
I would say possibly this week.
Okay, and then, yeah, we'll have applications due July 1, so that gives us time to kind of gather them before our meeting on the 8th. Because there's that Friday holiday, we have a weird posting time.
Oh, right, there's
It's a Friday.
Juneteenth. Is a
Well-
Thursday.
So July 8th is. Yeah, Juneteenth is a Thursday, so if we get this out this week, let's say. Well, I'm saying for our July 8th meeting, we need to post that what, on the 2nd or 3rd? When's is town hall open the 3rd?
It is.
Okay, so yeah, we just don't have that Friday, that was.
Right.
So, yeah,
It
okay,
has to be,
so if they're due July 1, that gives us time to get them all in the packet, so,
by the 8th.
yeah. For the 8th. Okay. Was there anything else on this? If not, I guess I'll just.
I think it's great.
Okay. What's today? Today's the 3rd. Okay, so I'll make sure that you have this up to date one, Dawn Marie.
Thank you.
Okay. Note to myself,
You know, you say mental picture.
And that's
It's
just
good to
town
have for
departments,
virtually every
right?
town in
and the
state.
school, yeah,
And the school, yeah.
If you said furniture.
But yeah.
or Song. or
Okay.
something like that, it would be
So
like
next,
extremely
we already did this stuff with Jay. I will go to the planning board tomorrow, and kind of watch all that stuff and see what's going on. And then next is budget review and update. So does everybody have the big copy of the budget that Dawn Marie
Yeah.
printed out? So large, thank you so much.
So you can read it, or so
Yeah.
I can read it, really. It's all about me.
Yeah, so I mean, if you look down at our FY 26 balance, we have a good chunk of change. Obviously, once we issue the RFP for marketing and that contract's awarded, that brings our marketing down a little bit, but we still have plenty of time in the economic development to be able to do branding, should that all come up, and then public improvements. We have some money for that as well. So this is just a look at what we've got in the kitty. Any questions on this? Right, committee member updates. Any committee member updates we got going on? So I will say that tonight, I'll probably stay for the select board for a little bit or log on at home, but there's a Mattakese Utilization Committee status update on the books, as well as a plastic reduction bylaw task force.
Yep.
Um,
She told me to continue with that, right?
yeah,
I
yeah.
gotta go tomorrow afternoon to the
Yeah.
3:30, yeah.
Yeah, so the next meeting's tomorrow afternoon at 3:30. Peter's graciously agreed to go in my absence. I have a day job and can't make it there.
I was just saying, there's, I know something about it on here, I wasn't quite sure what the.
Yeah, I think they're just giving an update. It was kind of hard to tell from the packet what it's about.
So,
And then-
I'll
But I
just go
think
and
it's-
find out.
I think this is just for a select board representative.
Oh.
So I don't know that, yeah, it's just, so maybe there's nothing about that. But it's just for a select board representative who I thought was,
Do that,
yeah, who I thought was Liz, but maybe it's not. So that is moving along though. And thank you so much for going to
Yeah,
those
no
meetings.
And that's just all associated with the town meeting article that got
Yeah,
bumped
yeah,
per se.
yeah, yeah.
To
Yeah, it was supposed to take
look at its
effect.
implementation.
January 1 of 2025, and it's now pushed back to take effect January 1 of 2026. But they kind of need to really fine tune the bylaw to make it,
All right, so
Workable.
they created a committee to
yeah,
work out the details.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
The only other committee member update, I just want to share, a couple of people have reached out to me over the last couple of weeks with concern. There was some misinformation put out about, the 2026 sand sculpture trail. Apparently the Fitzy Snowman people were told that funding for next year was denied. And that got out into the public, and they were telling people, we won't be doing this again. Funding was denied for next year. That's absolutely not true. I just want to say for the record that the 2026 sand sculpture has not been funded because we haven't had an application for funding, with the chamber's contract ending in this August for marketing. Obviously, having that sand sculpture as an event in their typical contract won't happen. But the special event funding for 2026 has not been released yet. We're doing that in September. So I was able to, I think, slow some people's fears, but, funding has not been denied for anything. It just simply hasn't been requested yet. I will also say that the chamber, and some other folks have reached out regarding the Christmas stroll, for this December, with concerns about how that might be put on. So I, am going to invite the chamber, to a future meeting, and ask them for a formal request. I told them that I completely recognize that the ending of this contract that we have with them and the stroll being in December didn't quite align with our funding cycles, but the marketing contract has been expected to end in 2025 for over a year. But again, like we need a formal request of what is needed to host the stroll, put on the stroll, all of those things. So I would anticipate in July, hopefully we'll have some more formal requests. But I did just want to state for the record that funding has not been denied for any future events because we haven't received a request to give any funding out. So that's that. So hopefully at the next meeting, we'll have some more requests. I know Mary also wanted to understand this one-year marketing RFP. So we'll have some updates at that meeting as well. But that was my only update on that. Anything, any other community member updates?
Can I ask something of either the chair or?
Yeah.
Cause I think one of the last meetings you started putting together a calendar with all the different dates on it. Can we continue kind of doing that maybe as part of our packet, like, so now we just added, like some of the dates, like put out the funding to the department heads, not so much when we put it out, but like that we expect them back, when they're due back. And maybe even some of the tentative dates, so we're tentatively, like, we could put July 8th, formalize, just some of those key dates.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice having them all. Like I write them all down on a piece of paper, or sometimes I put them in my thing, but I don't have all the dates in like one spot, so it's nice to have.
Peter writes it on a piece of paper.
Yeah, I have it as like a working Google Doc, and I'd be happy to update it this evening and share it and make sure it gets in the packets going forward. But yeah, I think it's good to just kind of keep an idea of what we're talking about.
A one-stop shop for all the dates that we have, I guess.
Exactly, yeah, yeah.
That was always, or even if it's just printed out with the packets when we do it, it's like, just so we're all.
You could make it a OneDrive thing and give us all access.
I'm pretty sure I gave everybody Google access, but yeah, I can definitely share it going forward. Yeah, I do make a little notes on it, for when.
Yeah, or
so
even
I
as
know
the
what-
chair, you wanna put tentative dates on
Yeah.
things that are projected or that we need to make a decision, those, you can just
Yeah,
put those with the asterisk or whatever.
happy to add it.
That would be awesome for me, otherwise no other, another yapping for me.
Anything else? Community member updates, any staff updates?
Not off the top of my head at the moment, I'm sorry, I
No.
kind of gave you the big one.
No,
after
you're
that
good,
brief
yeah.
Discussion with Lori, so I'm glad that's gonna be integrated into the process, because. Basically I said, hey, I'm speaking as a taxpayer now, I don't want to be paying for a marketing contract for social media when we are already paying staff to do it,
And what's progress on Karen Green's replacement? Just a quick thought.
I do not have any progress to report on that.
That's okay. It's fine. I could call Sarah anytime I like. I'm sure and find out.
Let me know.
Maybe I
what
should
she
do that
says.
and let you know.
Okay, so yeah, next meeting, June 24th, I'll be at the select board. I'll make sure you all have the memo ahead of time, and I'll get it to you and Pam in time for the packet. And then July 8th is our regular meeting where we're gonna finalize the marketing RFP scope and get that out the door. And then August 12th, we will look at the responses from the RFP, and work to issue that. And I think, what else do I have going on? That's kind of all I had for August, but I'm sure other stuff will arise. But, and then, yeah, then we go back to the board in September. And then, we kind of have our special events and all that funding stuff coming up. And yeah, July 8th, we'll also talk about the public improvement stuff.
Mhm.
All right. Is there anything else for the good of the group?
I'm for a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
All motion.
Okay, so let's motion in a second. All in favor? Aye, okay, thank you all. Meeting is adjourned at 6:18.
Thank you.
Staying for the selectmen.
No, I abstained from the